Jordan Peterson, you'll remember when he went on to Joe Rogan's show, Jordan Peterson advocated for some type of like law or something that would prevent males in a society who are essentially impregnating or distracting the majority of women, and therefore leaving involuntarily celibate men without options to date or mate, I guess. And Joe Rogan had to say, like, well, you realize that's like sort of like you've just fallen into your own sort of like you've just hoisted your own petard by suggesting that we should have equality of outcome in society. And he was like, well, cut? Can I yell cut? Okay,
well, you gotta think about those people.
Oh, anyway. I'm gonna yell cut.
Can I do over? Do over.
Here he is.
I need a do over for that.
Here he is with
Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan.
And I want to give this context here too, because there's this movie that's coming out called Don't Worry, Darling, and it's been the topic of the tabloids. But there's a character in it who's based off of Jordan Peterson, and played by Chris Pine. And so Jordan Peterson is basically being asked about this by Piers Morgan.
I've got to wrap it up. I don't want to, but I have to. I want to ask you just quickly, the film director Olivia Wilde has a new movie out, which she says is based on you, this insane man, this pseudo-intellectual hero to the incel community. Incel being these weirdo loner men who are despicable in many ways. Is that you? Are you the intellectual hero to these people?
Sure. Why not? People have been after me for a long time because I've been speaking to disaffected young men. What a terrible thing to do that is. I thought the marginalized were supposed to have a voice.
It's making you emotional. Talk about it.
Well, God, it's very difficult to understand how demoralized people are. And certainly many young men are in that category. And you get these casual insults, these incels. What does it mean? It's like, well, these men, they don't know how to make themselves attractive to women who are very picky, and good for them. Women, be picky. That's your gift, man. Demand high standards from your men. Fair enough. But all these men who are alienated, it's like, they're lonesome and they don't know what to do, and everyone piles abuse on them.
When she said that, Olivia Wilde, it stung you, didn't it? I saw the reaction.
By that time, as far as critiques go, that was kind of low level. I mean, once I got painted as Red Skull, magical super Nazi, that was kind of the end of the insults. There's no place past that. So when Olivia Wilde made those comments, the first thing I did was go look at the preview for her movie, which I quite liked. I thought I would go see that movie probably, and perhaps I will. It didn't really bother me. My family and I talked about it right away, and we were able to respond to it with some degree of humor, which then people completely misunderstood. I said I hope that, that if I had to be played by someone, I think Chris Wilde, is that he's a very good-looking man, and so that seems all right, And then I said something like, "I hope he gets my fashion style choice right when he plays me," and it was a joke. All that was a joke.
All right, we don't need this self-indulgence. I mean, the whole thing is fairly ridiculous.
He does start crying again, but
he does.
Well, we'll get to that, I guess. But the part that just I can't believe that he still is under this delusion. No one cares that you're speaking to young men. They care what you're saying to young men.
Exactly.
It just, are we supposed to leave them on the side of the road to die? No one's saying that either. In fact, I would say this program tries not just to speak to young men, it tries to speak to young women, to trans people, to gay people, to non-white people, to black people, to indigenous people, whatever. And fine, if you want to have a specialty where you talk about young white men and speaking to them, that's fine. It's just about what you're saying. And what you're saying is that you're you are supposed to outsource your pain for being involuntarily celibate onto other people and onto women, and that's the problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that, is like you said, what he's saying, which is that like you're alienated from society, and that's actually because you haven't cleaned your room and sorted your own mess out. Or graduating from that level, it's because there are evil feminists and wokesters around there perverting society against you. And the reality is, like, if there's anything going on against young men that hasn't in the past, it's basically like equality in the workplace and things like that, and opportunities that are drying up. And the solution to that is basically decommodifying essentials and making less of your worth come from the job that you have. And you'll have more time to socialize and figure out how to talk to women if you don't have to work like 5 days a week for a job that's not paying you enough.
And
am I mistaken? Is this the same guy? This guy who is complaining about the horrible pickiness of women? It's their gift. Use it, fine. Isn't this the same dude who was complaining that Sports Illustrated was not putting on women on its cover for its swimsuit issue that comported to his sense of what is attractive?
Mm-hmm. Hey, be picky. That's your gift, man.
I mean, we're like, this is the twisted part here, folks. It is good that someone is, that folks speak to disaffected, disempowered people in society. There's a lot of those people. And it is just ultimately, what are you telling them? Like Emma says.
And disaffected and disempowered, for the most part, his audience, they may be in some instances, but he's trying to, in his project, make it seem like they are the most disempowered young white men who are unable to get the women that they want. At the same time, Jordan Peterson is trying to say that there's only certain kinds of women who are attractive,
right?
And then puts the burden on young men, saying if you're not cleaning your room, you're not pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, and you're not having sex with women, the women that I say are attractive, because you shouldn't be having sex with unattractive women, then it's on you or it's on them. So there's no like actual structural critique. It's either on yourself for not being tidy enough, or it's on the bitchy women and the feminists and the trans people who are really confusing the gender politics of all of this. So it's just, what he does is in effect funnel people's pain, or I think creates a false sense of it, honestly, makes it seem like this is a real problem, and then uses that pain to funnel outwards to others. And then he makes it like, oh, poor me.
Yeah, it's a trap. Like that, like you just said, going on to social media like once a year to say this woman isn't attractive. Like, what message is that sent to the young women about like partners that they could potentially seek out? And it's, I mean, really a toxic mix of like, but it's women who are the picky ones.
Let's just see him cry one more time. I'm crying really on behalf of these boys, not myself. It's not. It's
I
the
guess I am like
arrows
Jesus.
that I am standing in front of as I protect them. It's really...
I'm crying because I'm holding your burdens a bit like Jesus.
Controlled today, and yet in that brief moment you got very emotional. Why?
It's really something to see constantly how many people are dying for lack of an encouraging word. And how easy it is to provide that if you're careful.
Oh yeah, like I remember that model, that swimsuit model, who was too Zoftig for him. Well, except for her.
Not attractive,
except for the girls who don't, maybe got a little bit too much, body weight. They deserve a little critique.
Except for Elliot Page, too. Who,
and that too. Also, they're too much.
Kids.
Too much.
An encouraging word, but not that word is not the pronouns that they want to be identified by.
Right. I want to force certain pronouns on them as a way of like bucking them up. I wonder how many people he comes across who are like this. Like in the course of like, is he doing this at his shows?
I mean, yeah, that's the thing is like, I can sort of relate to that. Like you meet people and some people are going through stuff and tell you how much you meant to them through like trying parts of their life. Like I understand what he's reacting to there. I just think like his propensity to break up about it on camera seems like he needs to talk to somebody about it.
Well, because earlier in the segment he says like, when I was painted as the Red Skull Nazi, like it couldn't get worse than that. He dresses up his concern and says it's about the young white men at his shows, but it's all about himself. It really is. This is like complete solipsism and sense of aggrievement where he just wallows in his own self-pity and then monetizes it.
That's not nice of you to say. Here, just let's watch him cry just a little bit more.
It is too. And to say, you're a net force for good if you want to be.
Do you believe you're a net force for good?
Net, yes. In all the
was
details,
quick.
probably not. You know, no one's perfect.
That's
So-
modest.
Yeah,
People make their mistakes as they stumble up.
I admitted I'm not perfect, so that makes me almost perfect.
But
Who
immediately,
else
like,
but a perfect person?
but of course I'm a net positive for society. Clearly.
Yeah, no, I think I'm a net negative. Yes, that's why I charge $45 for my shows, because I'm a net negative. Don't be an idiot. Oh boy! I love the point. You know what? I gotta say, as far as I'm concerned, like if everyone associated with that we see on that screen evaporated and some weird thing gets sent to a different time and place zone, I would be perfectly happy.
The frame of that question, like, you speak out for the people that most need it. Doesn't that make you feel emotional? Like, what are we talking about?
Well, that's
Oh
the
my
thing.
God.
He's just like Piers Morgan. Talk about like sometimes people treat or put their emotional labor onto their friends or people in their life instead of going to a therapist. Like Piers Morgan is just validating him and acting as a therapist here, right? Anyway,
Whatever.
Jordan needs a therapist too.
yes.
But sometimes the therapist needs. Oh God, I'm gonna get into this.